following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
We think NBA Shootout 98 is the closest thing to actually playing in the NBA. And to prove it, we hooked up with Vin Baker.
Oh, dog, I'll fight you, baby.
Oh, but you got somebody on your tail, don't you? Oh, look at me. It's still me.
Pressure's on, Big Daddy.
From 3-point downtown, and it's good. Yeah! I beat Vin Baker. Bow to the king.
I think you really like the game.
PlayStation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Retroactive Sports Podcast. I'm Andrew Len and Len. Not
You past tensed yourself.
yeah,
Andrew Land.
yeah. I'm not Alex Len, that horrible basketball player. I'm Andrew Lenz, and joining me always is Johnny Townsend. I get his name right, and that's the most important. Always get your co-host name right.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew Lind.
But
what are we talking about today? I'm very excited for this podcast
we're
episode
talking about questionable cover athletes
for video games. Yeah.
But before we do that, Johnny, I wanted to do an immaculate grid with you for the NBA.
Oh man, I always get really mad at these.
I've done a couple of baseball ones, not too bad. Football, I'm pretty good at the football ones.
Yeah.
If you ever need to pop up a football one. But today we are doing basketball. So we have to
I say we started with the easy ones. I think the 10 plus rebounds per game is the easiest category here.
So we got to think of a Jazz player with 10 plus rebounds per game.
I'm going to go. You get more points if less people have used that one.
And I kill that on the football one.
What about a name of Carlos Boozer? What do you think about that for here?
I'll do it. Carlos Boozer. Boom. 4%.
So I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Detroit Pistons who got a 10 rebounds per game. Let's try to think of somebody that
Nobody. Otis Thorpe.
even though he still technically plays, I don't think anybody ever talks about him. What about Andre Drummond?
Yeah.
Or because nobody thinks about him, and he's like one of the best rebounders in the current.
Or you could go Greg Monroe.
Oh, that's probably even better.
You want to try Greg Monroe?
Let's go Greg Monroe. Yeah, I like that better.
Greg Monroe.
Boom.
1%.
Smart. All right.
Celtics. Big rebounder for the Celtics. Oh, geez. No, I don't think he did that many.
Did Cowens get 10 a game?
Probably.
I'm trying to think of an older Celtic because, most people don't think about the history.
Nobody thinks about the history. That's why we do this stuff. Let's see. Boom.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. So we a 4%, a 1%, and a 5%. That's pretty dang good.
That's really.
All right. So now this is where it gets a little tougher.
Can I do the Celtic one? The Celtic
Yeah.
game one? About, I think I got this. And I'm going to type in this name and tell me if you recognize this guy.
No.
You don't recognize Mikey Moore?
I do not. So this better be like 1% or 0.3%. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I was so in love with Mikey Moore.
That's so great.
Did we ever talk about Flash in the Pan, guys? Let's go with Mikey Moore.
Oh, it's so good.
I was dying to do Mikey Moore.
Well, let's go ahead and finish Celtics out then. Now we got to get a person to play for the Celtics and the Cavs. I think Shaq could be the easy one.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to go Shaq.
Ooh. I'm trying to really think here.
Yeah, that's the problem. We got to get a. You want to get the.
Yeah, but how many people will actually remember Shaq's run with the Celtics? I mean, it wasn't the best.
No, it's definitely on the tail end of his career. Uh, I mean, I'm fine with Shaq, but that's literally the first name I thought of automatically. That's the only reason I was even hesitant to use it.
I can't think of anybody else.
Well, let's put
Oh.
Shaq in there.
Yo, because you know what would be number one? Kyrie.
Yep. Definitely don't go Kyrie. I think Shaq could be more, have less here.
Kyrie is definitely number one. Shaq's 36.
Yeah, I mean, I think those would be your top two names, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right.
What do you want to do? Pistons Kings or Jazz Kings?
All right, let's start at the top. Let's go Jazz Kings. Ooh, this is a tough one.
This is very tough.
Well, Jazz Cavs, I think everybody's going to go with
Dante Exuma? No.
That's who we should go because I was Donovan Mitchell, I think would be the one everybody thinks of.
Did Exuma? I'm almost positive Exuma played for the Cavs, didn't he?
Feels like it. Either you talked it into my existence.
Let's see if my fantasy world is correct. Boom! Point.
Booyah! Great job.
Oh
man.
Andrew loves the losers because I love Dante Exuma.
All right, who was the Jazz?
Himself with the Mavs. This one, I think the easiest one, or one that people might not know, kind of like the Shaq, is Bill Laimbeer. But well,
I think so too. Go ahead and do it. Because I agree with you. Because I think people obviously think he's a Piston. I don't think they know about the Cavs thing.
9%.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep. And it's face mask Laimbeer.
Yes.
I do want to do an episode where we're talking about like basketball fights.
Oh, I thought you were going to say weird things in basketball, like when who is it, Calvin Murphy or Gerald Henderson wore the helmets.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of a King or
the Kings is a tough one.
Yeah, because you figure if you're on the Kings at a certain point, other than say early 2000s, you were just there to kind of die out.
Yes.
Not to sound rude, but you were.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
A Jazz and a King. Wait. Now. Oh no.
Like you had a name.
No, I was thinking of the Royals, but I can't. I only know two guys that played for the Royals, Bob Cousy and Oscar Robinson, and neither one of them played for the Jazz.
Yeah. Or Pistons.
Yeah. No, Doug Christie never played for the Pistons.
No.
No, I don't think Tayshaun ever played. I think he went to Memphis and then he was done.
Yeah, he didn't go very many places. Yeah.
Trying to think who else.
Who all did Chauncey Billups end up playing for? I know the Nuggets.
He started
Pistons.
with the Celtics, Raptors, Knicks.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of just more obscure Pistons players people don't talk about.
You know what really makes me mad about these? Like, even if we click give up, they don't give you the possible answers.
I know. Like, I wanted to give me who the possible answers are.
Or give me the number one choice so I can get mad at myself.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Come on.
Because we're doing really well.
Yeah, I think Shaq was the only one that we were like, just do it.
Yeah.
Jeez. A Piston and a King. There's somebody out there screaming at us right now.
It got to be, yeah. Or a Jazz and a King.
Yeah.
Trying to think of all the Jazz players.
Marky. Did Greg Kite ever play for the Jazz? Yes, I went there. I went with Greg Kite. Uh, deep cuts here for NBA.
Yeah.
Well, I had to if we went with Mikey Moore. Um, why are the first one should be the easiest? Like that is literally the first square is Kings Jazz.
Oh,
What you got?
didn't Rudy Gay also play for the Jazz at some point?
I will maybe.
I think so. I don't think people realize how long he's been around.
Rudy Gay,
Booyah, 44%. Everybody else thought of that too. Dadgummit.
Kings Pistons. Hey, we got it. Now I think at this point with all the other ones, how low we got them,
Yeah.
we
Now we just need one
we
more.
need to finish. We need to finish it out.
I'm with you. Kings Pistons.
Who play?
Kings
Otis
Pistons.
Thorpe.
Oh yes. How did we not? Yes. Oh God, that would have been one that we would have been mad at ourselves.
Boom.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And we got it an immaculate.
See,
That is what I'm talking about.
we did that damn good.
I'm proud of us. We should do more of these on the show.
Yes, I was
These are
like,
very fun. I'm only okay at the basketball ones, just so you know. Though, do any of the other ones, I'm useless to you.
I thought of you the other day when I was doing a football one because it was Browns Panthers, and I was like, "There's only one name I can think of right here."
The GOAT, yeah. All right, that's fun. Now let's get to our topic of the day. That's a fun way to start it here.
Yes,
Andrew and I both grew up loving video games. That's probably the thing that got us together in the first place, wasn't it? Like I would say, one of our first shared interest.
that in wrestling,
Yeah,
but noticed of what we
yeah.
we talk about.
So, and one of my favorite video games is a basketball video game, and there have been some really interesting cover athletes throughout the years. Especially when you get like during the original Nintendo era, it was most of the covers were like taken from a actual basketball game. So there's like multiple people on it. There's not. I don't consider those cover athletes.
No, I didn't.
For me, a cover athlete was there's just one person on the cover, right?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
where you're saying this person is the market person on this cover.
Yeah, is representing this game right here, right now.
Now, what I wanted to kind of go over this too as well is I think when I was looking at this, I was looking at why did they choose this athlete at this point, and then also in hindsight, why did this was not the best choice.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
In a way, because I put one out there and people were like, just to throw it out there because I'm pretty sure it'll be brought up. Madden 2012, Peyton Hillis was on there. 2011, 2000 and would be the 2010 season. He had a really great year, but then after that, he never ran for even close to 1,000 yards again. So I get why he's on there, but then looking back on it, it was like, was it a little bit premature to put him on there? And then there's some guys that are good, but it's like, considering the year, like you couldn't find anybody else.
yeah, especially for '90s basketball.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, especially when you get into the era of like 16-bit up to PlayStation era.
Yeah.
That era of games, they would like a lot of people got to cover.
All right. Are you got kind of like your list? We want to go one by one.
I thought about. I'm trying to find it, but for some reason my phone deleted the website that I had. That had all the covers on it that I was going to talk about.
I mean, I could knock out these college football ones that definitely don't make sense.
Yeah, go ahead and do that while I'm trying to find this website again.
Okay, so college football has a pretty good track record, I feel, of having players on there. I mean, there are it's college football. It's not NFL football, and I know a lot of people look at it that way. Where I do believe like the first actual cover athlete was Tommy Frazier, who did not get drafted in the NFL, did not even play in the NFL, but Tommy Frazier was an amazing college football quarterback. So I get that. But then there's other ones where it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like there's guys that won the Heisman and everything else. And then all of a sudden you get to, or we're in the Heisman race or big in college football. And then you get to NCAA football 2008 and a Boise State quarterback by the name of Jared Zabransky makes it. Jared Zabransky was a pretty good quarterback, but I felt like this guy was just pushed there. And looking at like the Heisman stuff, there was a lot of, I would say, juniors and sophomores that year. So he wasn't, so you can't really put them on there because the guy that you're putting on is going to the next step normally for most of these. So he was just a weird choice. And I just do not get it. I understand he had a great season. I think he won a big bowl game, like the Sugar Bowl or something. But then after that, just no good. Probably the worst is then EA was doing this thing where each system got their own athlete starting in 9.
Oh yeah. Try to make it more kind of an quote unquote exclusive type thing.
Yeah, like there was a fullback from Western Virginia that was on the PSP one, but I could say Owen Schmidt, like what is it? But it's PSP. So
yeah.
But this one was the PlayStation 3 cover athlete was Brian Johnson from Utah. Now Zabransky went undrafted. This guy, I don't even remember him. I remember Brian Zabransky, but Brian Johnson, he's in the NFL now as a coach.
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't really play in anything. He had a decent college career, but he never threw for like 3,000 yards in college, never threw for like 30 touchdowns or anything like that. He just don't get it. Like he won the most outs. He did okay. So Utah did upset Alabama, which is big, but is that what you get for upsetting? You win the most outstanding player in the Sugar Bowl, but still though, there's got to be. I just feel like there's got to be more to the athlete. Like it's got to be a season thing.
Yeah, I think when it comes to this, like ideally you would want a player who sort of becomes synonymous with the sport, right? Like when you see that cover, like easy example would be like Kobe had his own games, right? And so when you see Kobe on the cover, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I just don't I don't get it. Like I think you got to be like a top 5 player, I feel, in an MVP race. You're winning awards.
Yes.
All-Star is cool and all, but you got to be winning awards and stuff like that. And I get he won most outstanding player in the Sugar Bowl. But what did he do all year long? He just came out
But Andrew, he won most outstanding player in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's been a lot of guys that have done that too. But still, that's the one that I probably think is the worst college football cover athlete, and then Jared Zabransky second. Because at least I remembered Jared Zabransky. Because the Boise State team was fun to watch. Did you find your stuff?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Obviously, people listening to the show know that I'm very basketball centric. So growing up, anytime I also got all the video game magazines because I love video games, and anytime I heard even a rumbling of a new video game, NBA especially coming out, your boy had to get it, right? My favorite cover of all time, Andrew, are I'm going to let you guess who you think's on the cover. All right. The year is 1998. The game is NBA in the Zone. NBA in the Zone 98. Who had a great year in 98? Who I love.
98 great year.
Yeah. We had, I guess, the year before he had a really great year.
Wouldn't be Morning, would it?
No.
No, because he's having
He's a Heat by then. This may or may not be a Charlotte Hornet, to give you another clue.
Is it Muggsy Bogues?
No.
Or is it LJ?
No, it is Glenn Rice.
They put him on the cover.
They put him on the cover.
See,
All right. The Charlotte Hornet fan of me loves that, right? That's probably the main reason I even tried. Well, I would have tried it anyway, but that's got me twice as excited about that game. But in retrospect, there were so many people who had great years that they could put on the cover of NBA The Zone.
okay, so I found like this one, and they had one on here, NBA in the Zone 2000, Marcus Camby.
Yep. The in the zone games
Were they
got
good?
lost to time.
Because this is where I looked at it, like when I saw this, and I was gonna write it down, and I was like, I'm gonna do. Oh man, Marcus, why is Marcus? But then I read NBA in the Zone.
Yeah.
So at this time, this is probably the third. This is like the ECW. Here we go, wrestling reference. This is like the ECW of NBA games compared to NBA Live.
Well, at one point you had like 4 different companies doing NBA games. You had 2K, you had NBA Live, and you had remember, I think it was like 989 Sports or something like that. It was like the Sony ones. And then you had In the Zone, who I think is Konami, if I'm thinking correctly.
See if I can't see it. Yeah,
the first, when I got my original PlayStation, when I got it, the first game I got was the original NBA in the Zone. In one of those, remember the original PlayStation games had the tall covers? Yeah. It was in one of those. And I played the crap out of that game.
Where did you rage there, Johnny?
Oh, I know. I'm not afraid. Not afraid. So I love those games. I think they were good. I have not played them since then, though, and I'm very curious what they'd be like now. Something tells me not near as good. But yeah, so that was kind of how that was for me. But
I like what this guy wrote here.
What do you write?
Okay, so for the Marcus Camby, you put, what an exciting young center. What an exciting young center did you put? What exciting young center did you put on the cover of NBA of your 2000 basketball game? Shaq, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki? No, Marcus Camby. Was 12 points a game really that exciting? The New York bias is so real. Maybe this was the part of the reason why there was no NBA in the Zone in 2001 or 2002 or 2003 or 2004 or keeps on kind of just ... after that. So they're saying this killed the franchise.
I mean, NBA Live has a history of putting athletes on their covers that you will scratch your head to too. I mean, for every big name they'll follow. I mean, I have very strong memories of NBA Live 98 with Tim Hardaway on the cover when he played for the Miami Heat, Mr. Crossover himself.
See, I get that one though.
Thinking the big picture. I didn't even mention Mitch Richmond.
I have him on my list. I actually have him, and this one was so painful to write down for NBA Live 99. Please forgive me. This is one of my favorite.
I already did Glenn Rice.
So this is Antoine Walker.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Now, I will say, in both Glenn Rice's and Walker's defense, they did have seasons where they scored the heck out of that ball. Like, I'm talking 20-plus points per game for both those guys. But I know what you mean. In retrospect, So many big names you could have put on that cover, right?
So yeah, because
Well, what about do you remember when the 2K series went to they got the ESPN brand
yeah,
and a certain Mr. Ben Wallace was on the cover?
but that's one that I get still to this day because he was. I get it in hindsight. It probably wasn't the best, but at that time, was there? I mean, that guy was probably the was the best defensive player in the whole entire NBA.
Oh, for sure. I'm not I'm
But
not
I get what they're saying because that made where's that list that I had again? I made everything minimized so I can he
It was on the cover of I'm trying to remember on the cover of NBA Live 95.
I just actually I just had pretty much where is Mr. Ben Wallace? What did they so after 5 straight years of putting it that's okay. But Allen Iverson on the cover of their video game. Visual Concepts decides to that they're that shooting 39% from the field and winning exactly one game in the NBA Finals wasn't a good look for the franchise. Unfortunately, this was 2004 when the unmarketable but lovable Pistons won the title against Kobe, Shaq, and a washed up Karl Malone and Gary Payton. Not to mention a budding author, Phil Jackson.
Yeah. NBA Live also had in 2002 they had Steve Francis on the cover.
Yeah, that was not. That's one of those ones where it makes sense then,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make sense now.
Like I would put Gilbert Arenas in that same boat where it makes sense when it like in when was he?
I have both of those.
08.
I have
In
both.
08. Yeah, in 08 when he was the man in for the Wizards, you get it. But in retrospect, if it wasn't for him making saying outlandish things now, would anybody even know who Gilbert Arenas is? No disrespect, please don't shoot me.
Oh, he's coming for you.
Probably so. Probably so.
I'm trying to see who is. Oh, that's Wii. I don't consider the Wii ones like there's a college football where they put the Michigan State mascot on there for Wii, and I was like, you know what, it's Wii.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really count it. They got really good except for like Antoine Walker, like you said, Hardaway, Mitch Richmond in '97. NBA Live normally, Did you know there was supposed to be an NBA Live 19?
Yeah. Yeah, it got canceled. The last NBA Live was just before that, and there has not been one since. There are rumblings that they're bringing it back, but no official word.
I don't think you can. No, as a kid that grew up with NBA Live and you grew up with it, I don't think you can bring it back.
I think there needs to be another basketball game besides 2K. Like 2K is getting worse and worse every year, so I need somebody to kind of like how WWE needed AEW, just what everybody says, so they kind of get back and going in the right direction.
But like Vince Carter's on 04, you can understand that. Yeah, these are all. I like
I think it's just wild for NBA 2K. We're literally the first 3 or 4 games. It's always Allen Iverson, right? Especially the Dreamcast era when the games begin.
Yeah.
And I literally was Dreamcast NBA 2K day one. I had the first one. I've never missed a year without one. But the first guy after they stopped putting him on the cover was Ben Wallace.
Yeah, okay. I get it. And after I read that, have you ever hear about the international covers for
Yes.
NBA?
Yes.
So 01 is Vitas Sabonis. 02 is Michael Jordan, or only in Lithuania is Vitas. Japan gets Michael Jordan. 04 is Raul Lopez for Spain. 05 is Tony Parker for France. Paul Gasol for Spain. 06 Tony Parker France. Paul Gasol Spain. I don't even know who I'm gonna screw this name up. Utah Ta Abus for
All
Japan.
right.
And then '07 is Nowinski, Germany. Tony Parker, Boris Diaw, France. Paul Gasol. This is the best. '08, '08, '09, and '10. If you lived in the United Kingdom, your cover athlete was none other than Mr. Luel Dang.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I am talking about.
Best guy that on those cover athletes is Avita Sabonis.
Yes, but I mean that's one of those more fascinating. Though. I mean, you got to realize, like they're trying to put an athlete on the cover of those places where somebody from that place be like, "Oh man, Sabonis is on this," where he's a much bigger deal than he was here. Sadly, because I mean you both loved him, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you gotta. I've actually got to work with younger would talk crazy stuff about saying, "Oh, he's no good," and then went home and watched the highlights of like Iron Curtain Avita Sabonis,
Yep.
and he was like, "Yeah, that guy could play."
Yes. Yeah. It's the same thing with any player or athlete from yesteryear. Younger people don't realize how good they are. That's why you always see every so often there'll be those videos of like, I didn't know Larry Bird was that good. Those type of videos, right? When there's obviously the dude was fantastic.
I was gonna look at so NHL.
Yeah, hit me with some hockey.
Okay, we'll get some hockey going. NHL '97 Van Beesbrook. He's a damn good goalie. 98 Peter Forsberg. Love this game because it has the Sega Saturn cover, which I played it on the Sega Saturn. 99 Eric Lindros. Didn't live up to the hype, but he's still a Hall of Famer. Chris Pronger.
That's a name that I know.
Chris Pronger is a future Hall of Famer. '01 is Olin Nolan, which it's kind of questionable. I think they could have found somebody better. '02 is Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
03 Jerome McGinley. '04 Danny Heatley. Very good player the year before, rising star, had some injury problems. Also, I do believe killed his best friend in a car accident or was involved in a car accident, killing his friend, a la, I think, what's his name for the Hornets? David
Bobby Fields died.
Yeah, but
because he was racing David Wesley, if I'm thinking
Yes.
correctly. Yeah.
so it was kind of in that same situation with David. So Danny Heatley is a very questionable one looking back. Marcus Naslin, yeah, everybody else, they're pretty much there. Carolina Hurricanes legend, I'll give you this one for '08, Eric Stahl.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But everybody else is I have not seen a problem with all these. What I did have questions about was MLB/MLB The Show.
Okay.
All right. So, oh, damn. Oh, it's commercial. So here is my one. I am a Red Sox fan. I hate the Yankees. But if I had to pick a favorite Yankee of all time, it'd be Bernie Williams. But I don't understand why he's on the cover of MLB 98. Never once in my mind has Bernie Williams ever flashed cover athlete. Like, that's the other thing too. Like, if you pick it up, like I understand Michael Jordan in Japan.
Right, yeah.
Because you pick it up and you go, if Jordan's on this, I want to play it.
Right, yeah.
Never once did I think of associating a cool video game or a video game I want to play with Bernie Williams. Another one, where was the other one that I was like, what are we doing? Sean Green 04. Sean Green was another good player. He had some good seasons, but nothing that said cover athlete. Same thing with the next year. This is probably why I never bought it until 06 when David Ortiz was on it. But 05, MLB 05, Eric Chavez. All right. Not related to Chris, not that I'm aware of. I'm just gonna get that out of your way. But he was another guy. He was a good player, but I don't understand it. But everybody else, I'm like, okay, I get it. These guys are either Hall of Famers or borderline Hall of Famers, or was like at top of their game at that point. Other than Yasiel Puig, which I got blowback on because this guy just kind of fell off. Because I did put up, weird cover athletes and
Yeah.
or out there, which I've noticed if you put anything out into the internet, it's like throwing a magnet into a river. You don't know if you're gonna pick up $1 million or you're gonna pick up a loaded gun.
Yeah.
So the other one, because one was for college football, they didn't understand why Desmond Howard was on that, which I understand completely. If you're just looking at a college football aspect, like it was an anniversary edition,
Yeah.
Desmond Howard was a very, very good. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, everything else. That's why I get Desmond Howard was on that cover I can't forget which one. Probably the only other MLB The Show one is probably Josh Donaldson, but he kind of fell off. Javi Baez fell off big for 20. And then other than that, it's just waiting to see what Jazz Chisholm does, but he's hit 3 home runs in 4 games so far since he's been traded to the Yankees. So I'm not going to say a word about that one.
I mean, when it comes to the college video games, it's a little tougher because those in retrospect don't always age well. I mean, I definitely remember I want to say it was Raymond Felton was on the cover of one of those games. And I, of course, love Raymond Felton because he's a Tar Heel.
Yeah.
And he actually had a decent, okay career in the NBA there for a while, but he definitely wasn't like lighting everybody's worlds on fire, right? When he became a pro. But he was a really, really good college basketball player.
Yeah. I think Adam Morrison is an 07, and they were like, well, what about Kevin Durant? Well, Durant was probably the better.
Durant was the better player.
It was the better player,
but Morrison had the better season.
Yes. That's where I get that one. Was it the best choice? No, but once again, for that time and what Morrison did in college, it was up there.
Yeah.
Here's Hakeem Olajuwon for NBA Shootout 98. Where you
definitely remember that one. Yep. I played those shootout games. Those were the Sony ones, if I'm thinking right.
This is what I was kind of looking at too. SI did a most explicable cover athletes in sports history. So some of these, I think they're kind of reaching on.
Yeah.
Comes to some of the things like they got Cordell Stewart was on the cover in NFL Blitz. I think there's certain fun games. It really doesn't matter. And unless you're,
it's not like you want for like a sim. If you're playing Blitz, which is my favorite football game, you're not exactly looking for like simulation football gameplay there.
Also, he's like in video game form, and unless you really, really know, like to look at the number 10 and the colors, you don't know it's Cordell Stewart.
Shout out to NFL Street. Also like that game a lot.
Like I said, there was like they mentioned Ben Wallace. We've already done that. The Spartan for NCAA football 2009 for the Wii. It's the Wii. Most of the Wii was catered towards kids. Young kids want to see cover athletes.
Wii's also like 99% shovelware. So.
Yeah. Dontel Willis on the cover of MLB Slugfest, which, in hindsight, probably wasn't the best choice considering who's around. But also, you got Jason Giambi on there. Keith Van Horn for NBA Jam.
Yes, which made no sense. I liked Keith Van Horn, but he wasn't necessarily known as a guy jumping out of the gym.
I was gonna say when I'm thinking of an NBA Jam cover athlete, the first thing that doesn't come to mind in a pitch meeting going, get me Keith Van Horn.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was like NBA, like shoot behind the arc or something.
Yeah.
They bring in a wrestling game here.
Oh, I was going to bring up wrestling games. All right, who do they have for this?
Road to WrestleMania 18 for the Game Boy Advance on the cover. I can understand this. One of these things are not like the other. Triple H,
Yeah.
The Undertaker,
Yeah.
and Rob Van Dam.
But again,
Road
in that
to-
era, Rob Van Dam was pretty big.
but Road to WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
Are you
All right, since it was all right, so I went down a rabbit hole of trying to find somebody who really stuck out like a sore thumb to be put on a video game cover. For the most part, when it comes to wrestling video games, they would just smartly just put all their big stars on them, right? Like almost mostly. I will present to you. Would you please look up the cover for Backyard Wrestling 2?
I already know. Don't even gotta look it up. We talked about him yesterday. The Insane Clown Posse.
That's right.
But as funny as it is, who else are you gonna put on Backyard Wrestling?
No, I get it. Like I understand it, but it's just funny. Oh man, that made me laugh when I saw it. Backyard Wrestling. Don't try this at home. Which side note, Trevor, Derek, and me, we did it at home.
I once won a match in Backyard Wrestling because I threatened to rip a guy's shirt. He had me in a submission and I wouldn't tap, and I had his shirt, and he was like, "Dude, this is like one of my favorite shirts." Well, first of all, you don't wrestle in your favorite shirt.
Yeah, that's on his. That's his fault.
So
I agree.
I was like, "I'll rip it." I felt really bad because it was a good friend. I was like, "I'll rip it," and then finally he was like, "All right, I lost."
Also, y'all are like being very kayfabe. We had storylines and everything going on. We knew who was going to win and everything.
We were more, like actual almost
Yeah.
in a way, and then it was like on the hard ground too.
I have a question for you.
What?
What if, let's say they announce the next game's cover athletes? Who do you think is somebody who's obscure, who like most people be like, I don't know about that, but you're like, I get it, can make a cover?
Jeez.
You know what I mean? Who's the new Keith Van Horn?
The GOAT, Peyton Pritchard. No. If he makes the cover,
They put Peyton Pritchard on the cover. I mean, I think Tatum is getting the next cover, if I'm thinking right.
wait, I get that.
Yeah, that makes he just won the championship, so it makes sense.
Somebody obscure.
Yeah.
Like
Well, obscure is a weird word. You know what I mean? Somebody who like you wouldn't necessarily be like in your top 5 of getting a cover.
another kind of funny one, but he kind of sparked up in the playoffs there. Former Charlotte Hornet, PJ Washington.
Yeah.
Think about it.
See, I'm thinking more in the lines of like
Who you
for
got?
basketball, maybe like Jimmy Butler,
Draymond,
Draymond. Yeah, would be another one.
Drew Holiday.
I like that.
I know-
Or like if they'd put Jordan Poole on the cover.
Jeez, that one I can't even justify. But Pritchard has more justification than Jordan Poole.
Not as much money.
Yeah, that is true. No, oh yeah, Sam Hauser got paid.
Yeah.
Somebody else, like a star but not a star.
Right, yeah. Or they might be a star on their own team,
Devin,
but
Booker.
like that he did make a cover though.
Did he
been on
make a
2K.
cover?
Yeah, he's been on a 2K cover.
Okay, see, I haven't played too many 2K.
Yeah.
Halliburton.
That's a great one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I would go Halliburton. Sabonis's kid.
Yeah. What about the Rocket guy, Shangoon?
Yeah, I could.
But some of these guys might make the foreign covers. Yeah.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if you see Wemby in France.
Yeah, I mean you got to put Joker in Serbia, right? It's only that makes any sense.
Is he allowed to? I'm surprised he's actually playing the Olympics.
I know.
Did they promise it was horse racing an Olympic event?
Yeah, what if he showed up and he thought it was horse racing?
Yeah.
And he showed up and he was just so disappointed that he has to play basketball again.
I'm trying to think of ones for football.
That's still one of my favorite videos you shared with me.
I think I think if Tua ever made a cover, I think that would just be weird.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Charlotte Hornets I can think of. Like if LaMelo Ball made a cover, like he shouldn't, but you know.
Well, Josh Allen, like CJ Stroud. I know a guy that's going to probably be on the cover in the NFL is CJ Stroud. He's going to probably be definitely on the cover. The one thing I got to give props to in Madden is they really spread it around.
Yeah.
This football is, out of all the sports, it's very one position centric.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The quarterback.
Despite having like probably the most players on the field at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would probably be one there where you could go with like, I don't think Saquon got a cover if he ever resurges. Yeah, I can't think of too many other. Probably Justin Jefferson's gonna probably get a cover at some point. Even though I do consider him more of a cover athlete. Yeah, there's some different ones.
Well, I mean, you also grew up in an era where athletes would get their own game in that sport, right? You know, I mean, probably the closest example now that the kids today might know would be Tiger Woods. Like he had his own line of games there for a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely remember going to the store and seeing
Charles Barkley, Shut Up and Jam.
Oh, I had both of those, 1 and 2. I really did love those games.
Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball.
I played that one later. But yeah, I mean, that's great examples though, that I was talking about. But there's a lot of those, especially golf games. A lot of golf games where a golfer got his own golf game.
Yeah, everything had to have somebody behind it at one point.
Yeah.
I felt.
I mean, before Madden, didn't they have like Elway have his own game? I think.
Fuck that game.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
That John Elway's quarterback game that sucked on the NES. That sucked in the arcade. Okay, let me tell you about this game, Johnny. Tell me how shitty this control is for the arcade. All right.
Yeah.
Little Andrew's going up there, football fan, going, oh boy, I can't wait to play this.
Yeah.
So there's this little stick that's like a spring. If you ever when we're done with this, look up and look at the controls for the arcade.
I'm going to do it now as you're telling me.
Okay. So there's this stick with this black tip on it, and it's just a tiny little stick. It's not like a joystick. And this is what you use to pass and kick off. Is you would have to pull this stick back so far and then release it. Tell me what little kid in their mind's going to go, oh, this is a touch pass. I only got to pull it back a little bit farther. No, I'm yanking that thing all the way back. This thing was so unfun. And it, like I said, it sucked on the NES. It's just, thank God for Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl, because I don't think there would have been a good football game on the NES.
Oh yeah, that looks complicated. Just looking at the.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
it was
especially if you're a little kid. Yeah,
it was
Man.
horrible. But if you look at the Tecmo Bowl controls for the arcade, it's beautiful. It's full screen. It's nice. Then they came over and they got some certain NFL teams for Tecmo Bowl, and then Tecmo Super Bowl. They got all the NFL teams, you know, the whole players rosters, and then here you got John Elway's quarterback football. Horrible. The first.
I'll also say underrated basketball game is the Techno basketball game.
Yeah, I was playing that the other day. It is.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
The other one, the first football game to blow my mind, and I'd never played a Madden until like 93. Probably 93. Was Joe Montana Sports Talk Football. Just because the announcer would go, Montana, back to pass, and stuff like that. And I would just pick the 49ers.
Yeah.
Just so I could hear Joe Montana's, just so I can hear him say a player's name in Joe Montana.
Before they became NBA Live, I think I've said this before on here. The games that came out was like Bulls versus Blazers. They have those type of titles. Those games were the first ones that blew my mind because you could do signature. The players would have signature dunks. Remember that Tom Chambers had his signature dunk. I remember trying to do it. Clyde Drexler had his signature dunk where he kind of glided and picked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I remember being blown away that I could do Claude the Glide's dunk in a video game.
I think the first one I remember doing that in is I never really played those. And I think that's only because which is shocking, because my father was a huge basketball fan. I think because he just thought it was those two teams or something. So we never did rent them. But what was it? The first one was Shaq. I call it NBA Live, but it's not NBA Live.
Showdown?
Yes. And
Yeah.
to see them do their dunks, I know what you mean. To see them do signature dunks were great. See, I even looked up these controls and now I'm starting to get angry.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
That's, you know what? Can we just make this our next episode? Is pick 5 sports games we love and 5 sports games we absolutely hated.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Because I think this needs to be aired out after we talk about these cover athletes.
Yeah. I like that. We can make this kind of video game month in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to I wonder if we can't solicit something from Matt too, because he's pretty
I'll bet we can. Yeah.
he's pretty funny. And you know what's funny is I did when I was on 2 Point and Matt did his like eat sleep list, but it was called first and 10, and we would do like 10 of something to show my age. And we did football games. I was the only one on there that did not have a Madden.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because I lived in an era where
there's more choices.
there was way more choices, like Deion Sanders and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smiths and stuff like that. And like everybody had a game, even Bo Jackson's baseball. Do you remember the Tiger one where it was Bo Jackson's baseball and football and you could flip it around? It was a 2-in-1.
Yes. Yeah. The Tiger handheld. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we also live in an era where like Dick Vitale got his own basketball game.
Yeah, that is the longest title in the world. And I love the fact that Scott the Woz has that. And I love the fact when he does talk about sports games, it's always Dickie V's whatever. I would have to look it up.
I played that game a lot as a kid. I didn't even go to front.
And then also he has an affinity for Madden 07. Where he talks about how many copies of Madden 07. I would go, that's nuts. And then I now own 2 copies of Tecmo Super Bowl. So,
that's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. Well, appreciate all y'all listening to us. Make sure you check out the social medias there on the Facebook page. Andrew does an awesome job there. And also, just don't be a dick.
There you go.
That's our only rule. That's our only rule. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah. We're here for a conversation, not to be ridiculed. And we don't ridicule you for your opinions unless you.
I mean, we think about it, but we don't do it.
Yeah. Unless you really enjoy John Elway's quarterback football. Then I want to know.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, hate it so much. But good morning, good afternoon, and good night.